You look at that river gently flowing by. You notice the leaves rustling with the wind. You hear the birds. You hear the tree frogs. In the distance you hear a cow. You feel the grass. The mud gives a little bit on the riverbank. It's quiet. It's peaceful. And all of a sudden, it's a gear shift inside you. And it's like taking a deep breath and going, oh yeah, I forgot about this. I am Al Gore. I used to be the next president of the United States of America. I don't find that particularly funny. I've been trying to tell this story for a long time, and I feel as if I've failed to get the message across.
Mr. Gore, it's an honor to have you here and to let us interview you about the environment and the climate change and all the effects that surround it.
Mr. Gore, my first question for you is, you almost lost your son, and how did this affect your interest in the environment?
The possibility of losing what was most precious to me. I gained an ability that maybe I didn't have before, but when I felt it, I felt that we could really lose it. That what we take for granted might not be here for our children.
The next question is, what did you decide to do when you just lost the race to be a president?
You make the best of it. It brought into clear focus the mission that I had been pursuing for all these years, and I started giving the slideshow again.
And Mr. Gore, what are the consequences of global warming?
And now we're beginning to see the impact in the real world. This is Mount Kilimanjaro more than 30 years ago and more recently. And a friend of mine just came back from Kilimanjaro with a picture he took a couple months ago. Another friend, Lonnie Thompson, studies glaciers. Here's Lonnie with a last sliver of one of the once mighty glaciers. Within the decade, there will be no more snows of Kilimanjaro. This is happening in Glacier National Park. I climbed to the top of this in 1998 with one of my daughters. But those who go up to see them, here's what they're seeing every day now.
Mr. Gore, my next question to you is, can you give us an example of the consequences of the global warming in Europe?
Here is a study from the Netherlands. The peak arrival date for migratory birds 25 years ago was April 25th, and their chicks hatched on June the 3rd, just at the time when the caterpillars were coming out. Nature's plan. But 20 years of warming later, the caterpillars peaked 2 weeks earlier, and the chicks tried to catch up with it, but they couldn't. And so they're in trouble. And there are millions of ecological niches that are affected by global warming in just this way.
You always hear about melting ice caps and such, and how it affects lower countries like the Netherlands, where we're from, to be flooded. Can you show us how that is put in effect, if it would happen?
Antarctica, the largest mass of ice on the planet by far. A friend of mine said in 1978, if you see the breakup of ice shelves along the Antarctic Peninsula, watch out, because that should be seen as an alarm bell for global warming. The Netherlands, one of the low countries, absolutely devastating.
So, Mr. Gore, this is our last question. We are worried about the environment. Do you have some tips for us how we can help the environment in our daily life?
Separating the truth from the fiction and the accurate connections from the misunderstandings is part of what you learn here. But when the warnings are accurate and based on sound science, then we as human beings, whatever country we live in, have to find a way to make sure that the warnings are heard and responded to.
Well, Mr. Gore, these were our questions, and we want to thank you for this interview. At least we wish you good luck with your cause, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Future generations may well have occasion to ask themselves, what were our parents thinking? Why didn't they wake up when they had a chance? We have to hear that question from them now.